I'm Dr. Mark Pitstick. Welcome to video number 3 of topic number 9, Greater Reality Living, 5 Keys to Helping Yourself, Others, and Our World. For optimal benefit, make sure you've watched videos number 1 and 2 on the SoulPhone project before continuing.
All right, I've used the word soul keyboard, and this isn't what it's going to look like. These are just earthly keyboards. But the breakthrough soul switch that I mentioned will be a component for these keyboards. So again, a switch, each one of these keys is like a switch. If you push an L, for example, that's a yes answer for the L, a no for everything else. And you understand that computers are built on a binary system, 1 or 0. So it's amazing how much communication you can gather from a binary system. So these breakthrough switches then, 10 seconds or less, will allow us to compile a keyboard. Now, in the beginning, the engineers think that as few as 8 different keys will be involved because there'll be a combination of keys. So say we have keys number 1 through 8, the letter A might be pushing number 1, 3, and 6, and that spells an A. A B might be 1, 3, and 7. And so they say that we could spell all the letters out and all the symbols, and perhaps just with 7 or 8 switches. And there would be a big chart on the wall so that the post-material persons would see, okay, here's an A, here's a B. But the input we have from evidential mediums is they're willing to do that. It's kind of like Morse code. But imagine if we asked a question, should we proceed with soul audio, soul voice, like a phone? Should we proceed using system A, approach A, and then go to sleep? And the next morning, here's a lot of information that they have typed over time throughout the night, keeping in mind that they can do many things at once. I will share that later, what I learned from that, from them. And they're very willing to do it. Again, we are here to help you heal your world. So this is very exciting, and the keyboard is considered to be then the first usable practical device. And look how we text and type now. It can be a lot of information. Now, there are security concerns, security about the technology, security about staff members, because you understand there are some fundamentalists, some mentally ill and imbalanced people who would consider it a good day to kill people who are trying to enable post-material communication because it offends their religious beliefs or whatever. And so we're taking the utmost security measures to protect everyone involved as well as protect the security, because this could get into the wrong hands. We have to have a certain amount of safeguards. So if someone stole it, for example, terrorists couldn't use it to try to get in touch with post-material terrorists and figure out how to rain havoc on the world at a higher level. These are all the things we've thought through over the years, and Dr. Schwartz, well before any of us. So the current thinking is that for the keyboard, that first, this will be a service, not a take-home device, that there will be soul keyboard centers, which will be highly secure, and that people, customers, clients will then use them virtually. So we'll be using something like Zoom. They will have their questions in mind. They will see the operator and the computer screens, like you're seeing me now in the slides, and then they will ask a question. And depending on the level of technology, the facilitator may have to type in the question, or just hearing it, their post-material loved one may be able to then press keys and answer. So first a service, eventually perhaps a take-home device, or even an app, an application that can be used with any smart device. So that's the Soul keyboard. The next anticipated device is Soul Voice. Sometimes we call it Soul Audio. And this would be talking, just like you can talk on a phone. For those who think this is impossible, we have some pages on the website, soulphone.org, that discuss this. But when I was a kid, my grandparents had a party line, which means that several different families shared the same phone line. And so for me, for example, as a teenager, I want to call my girlfriend. I pick it up. There were two old ladies in the neighborhood talking about cooking beans. And, you know, 10 minutes later, I pick up, they're still talking about cooking beans. And I'd be like, something like that. They didn't care. They were going to keep talking. So it was pretty frustrating. Also, back then, the phone numbers were just four numbers, is all you had to dial. And the old rotary dial and go back around. Phone booth, big phone booth. You go in there, it costs you a dime for a phone call. Well, now look, just what, 55 years later from that, now look at the technology that the younger generation takes for granted. It's amazing. I mean, if you would have told people, there was a cartoon, older people remember Dick Tracy, where he had a watch where he could talk with people who were distant. He could see them and they could see him. And we thought, oh, that's so futuristic. That'll never happen. Well, we all have one. Most people have one in their back pocket now. There's a computer and a calculator and connection to the internet and so many things. So it's possible. Alexander Graham Bell had the first phone, I think, 1875. So I'm talking about when I was 15, 1968. So that's just approximately 95 years later, and party line and four numbers. And then look how much has progressed toward the cell phones. Well, likewise, huge changes can be and are happening very quickly, and especially with the way technology has exploded. So it is possible, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. Next, the Soul video, what we're doing right now, video conferencing, seeing and hearing. And Dr. Schwartz's goal is to make this 3D so you can see a person, their depth, not just a flat image of them, and eventually a holographic 3D, as you can see, for example, in some Las Vegas shows where, quote, deceased entertainers are brought to life on the stage via technology. So that's the goal for those devices. And as I mentioned, it may be an app with any smart device. That would be wonderful. So you can believe now. And, because people have been fearful for millennia, is it really an afterlife? When you die, is that it? Now you know the scientific research. It shows without a doubt that life continues after bodily death. So it's not too early to begin thinking, who would you want to contact? And what questions would you ask of them? And that way, when the time comes, you're already ready. So some benefits of the SoulPhone technology: greater scientific proof of life after death, communication with your post-material loved ones, all right, your family members, your friends who have changed worlds. Initially, yes and no questions, but eventually typing and texting, talking and seeing. How huge is that? Next, input from post-material luminaries. So these are the scientists, the inventors, the educators, perhaps religious teachers, the ones upon whom religions were founded. What did they really say? What did they really teach before it was concretized or greatly changed, altered by the powers that be? How wonderful would that be? So I mentioned in an earlier video that I got a session where I was able to talk with some of the A team members, Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, Michael Jackson were four, I think Carl Sagan as well, and asked them some questions. And you remember the story about when I asked, how can we achieve world peace? Well, another question I asked was, okay, if and when we get this technology in place where we can have you at least type in answers, would you be willing to give webinars on specific topics that will help many people on our planet? And Rhonda started laughing and she said, they're pushing each other out of the way to get first in line. And Tesla said, it'll break the internet. So can you imagine a webinar by Jesus or Buddha or Albert Schweitzer on healthcare, eradicating disease around the world? Because keep in mind, these geniuses have been working on the evidence we have. They've been working on their particular areas of expertise on, quote, the other side. Tesla said, for example, if you think what I did on Earth was amazing, wait till you see what I've been doing here. So that's just extraordinary. And before I was talking about their willingness to, for example, even if they're hunting and pecking on the early keyboard to type, they have the time. They can multi-locate. And so here's the story behind that. I said, we want to honor your time. We don't want to take up your time if you're doing higher pursuits. Um, we don't want to take you away from what you're doing. And the answer was, it's okay. We can do more than one thing at the same time. And I said, really? I said, so how many can you do? Can you be in the same place, 5 different places at the same time, doing different tasks? Oh, yeah, piece of cake. How about 10? Yes. How about 20? Yes. Well, Dr. Schwartz is so funny, I'll never forget. He was sitting in a chair in the corner. He was trying to be silent, but it was so difficult for him. Um, but at that point, he jumped up and he said, wait a minute, are you saying that you can do 20 different things at the same time, instantaneously, different topics? And he said, well, 25, 50. Anyway, they started leveling off at 50 to 75. So just imagine that's what they can do and what you'll be able to do someday. So that is an example of how they have the time, they have the energy, they have the willingness, and it does not detract from their other missions that they're doing. And so based on that, Dr. Schwartz and I considered starting, and we have the initial groundwork set, what's called Greater Reality University, where the faculty, and he has 45 different post-material luminaries who have signed up, people like Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and Abraham Lincoln, and other legendary leaders, real leaders, not what we get passive for politicians now that are bought up by big power, big money, but true leaders, and learn what is real leadership and how can leaders from different countries around the world use those principles, do that. Think of the impact of that. And then the same with every field, law, for example. Can you imagine murder cases in the future if or when the person who was, quote, killed, their body was killed, but the rest of them is very much alive, can testify in their own trial and give details about the killer, where the gun is or clues and so on? It's going to change healthcare, law, leadership, inventions, technology, every pursuit of humans. So stay tuned. Super fascinating stuff. How can you help, you ask? Tell others about the SoulPhone project. It'll give them hope, first of all, and then they can share others. Donate even as little as $5 a month or more if you can. And the way to see how to do that, visit soulphone.org/get involved/membership and donations. And there's a list of gifts for each one of the membership levels, some of the donors have said, you guys are getting cheated. I mean, you get all kinds of books and audio products, and you get to attend some of the first public demonstrations at 10,000 or more. As I mentioned, you get to have a soul switch session. You get a session with me where you can ask any questions you want. So there's lots of benefits for these gifts. So be sure to check that out. You can subscribe to the free SoulPhone newsletter and share it with others. Just visit the website, soulphone.org. You can attend virtual or in-person press conferences when we have them, and attend virtual in-person public demonstrations of the technology. So for updates, here are 2 newsletters you can subscribe to free, and you will see then notices when those different events are going to happen.
This is the end of video number 3 on the SoulPhone project. To learn more about this topic, there are several action steps you can take. First, read the following articles and take relevant action steps. First of all, number 6, and again, all these articles are at soulproof.com. Number 6 is entitled Evidential Mediums. So this is our term for mediums who have verifiable abilities to communicate with post-material persons, those who have changed worlds, who used to live on Earth. They dropped their body. The other 99.9% of who and what they are is living elsewhere. And again, these mediums have been evaluated under double-blinded scientific conditions, so there's no way they're fakes or frauds. Article number 9, called Visiting, quote, Departed Loved Ones Now. So we say, quote, because no one really dies, or not departed, they're not deceased. They just drop this earthly shell, which turns out to be a mere fraction of who and what we are. So this describes my facilitated afterlife contact technique using deep relaxation and guided imagery to turn down your brain's activity. The brain's a wonderful tool, but it limits your perception about the big picture of life. It only detects much less than 1% of reality. So this article number 9 again describes how you can better sense your loved ones, people and pets who have passed, until you also transition and are with them more fully. Article number 35 about the SoulPhone project. Number 44, SoulPhone project updates. Article number 85, will the SoulPhone ever be ready? Keep in mind, I've been working with Dr. Schwartz for almost 8 years as a spokesperson for this, and everything has been more difficult and taken more time than we imagined. So that's why ever be ready. Some people are disappointed or discouraged or wonder if it'll ever come about. It will, but if it were easy to do, somebody would have done it by now. As you learned about Edison and Tesla and others who tried, Bell, Marconi. So we understand nobody wants to get this done more than we do. And finally, article number 106, which is a comparison of the SoulPhone project and the fields of ITC, which is instrumental transcommunication, and EVP, electronic voice projection or phenomena. So it's important to understand the difference between those, article number 106. The other action step you can take to learn more about this topic is to visit the soulphone.org website. And then I mentioned using that facilitated afterlife contact technique. And then after about a month of that, you can use other bonus audios that go with this course. And those digital files are in the resource PDF for topic number 9. First of all, the life review technique, as described in article number 45, You may be aware that the life review is one of the most transformative aspects of a near-death experience. And Dr. Ken Ring, PhD, Professor Emeritus, University of Connecticut, was a pioneer in the field of near-death experiences. He found in working with subjects that you don't have to nearly die to have a profound life review. You can do it again under deep relaxation / hypnosis and guided imagery. So I've developed a technique. Dr. Ring gave me his blessing to do that. He's about 88 now and retired for the most part. So you'll have this session, this audio session, so you can experience. If you were to pass on today, what would your life review be like? And then, since you still have time on Earth, how can you create a better one for when you really do change worlds? Also, the love, acceptance, and forgiveness technique described in article number 40, and that allows you to deeply do just that: love, accept, and forgive yourself and others in your life. And finally, the other bonus audio product, I'm giving you everything here, is called Pre-Birth Planning Technique, article as described in article number 25. So again, using deep relaxation and guided imagery allows you to consider if you as a soul, your consciousness, your energy may have pre-planned, set up the possibilities for, the potentials for certain life events. If so, why did you set that up? And that awareness then can improve your here and now on Earth. So again, pre-birth planning, article number 25. Now, in addition to the benefits of each of those techniques, getting deeply relaxed and turning down your brain's frenetic activity acquaints you with more subtle realms. That is, it gets you used to expanded states of consciousness where you're not so tied into what seems to be solid and earthly things. You realize there's a lot more to life than what your five senses detect. So lots of advantages to those techniques. So this is the conclusion of topic number 9, the SoulPhone project. It's also the end of this course, Greater Reality Living, 5 Keys to Helping Yourself, Others, in Our World. Please review the summary of topic number 8 video for my recommendations how to get optimal benefit from this course. So it's been a sacred honor and privilege to share this information, resources with you. I invite you to let me know how it worked for you, and if you have any questions or problems with it, email me, mark@soulproof.com. So I hope you use it fully, share it with others, transform your life to the greatest life of your dreams, and needless to say, let it shine.